A pleasure to speak with you. When it comes to these films in this world, it's so interesting how people, and we were just talking about how they consume it and how much they love these worlds too. What was it, as you progress through this, what have you learned about Dune as you created? And more importantly, what have you learned about the vision you had before you started on this road and where you are now?
But the thing is that I've learned about Dune as I was making it is that its reputation to be unadaptable happened to be to solid the idea solidified, meaning that in order to bring the book to the screen, I had to make a lot of transformations. It's a beast to crack, and I will say that uh, the movies, both movies now that are finished say more things about me, Denis Villeneuve, than about Frank Herbert's book because I had to make the amount of transformation I had to do was more substantial than I would have expected in some ways, and I had to accept uh, to kill a lot of darlings. Um, and I've learned about my craft tremendously. Each movie, and that's the beauty of my job, I think, is that every time I finish a film, I have the impression that I learned mostly everything almost that I went back to film school in some ways.
Um, Can you talk about, as being a director was such a huge production, so many things happening, but having a huge, amazing cast is a gift, but also I'm guessing the world's worst balancing act to make everything work, to have everyone available, to make things, how did that all work for you with this amazing cast where you had to make sure the schedules align, things go right, and you plan for the future. You have to like look at windows, your life is windows, windows, windows.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a blessing to have the chance to work with these artists. Uh, uh, they had to add needed people that will have the charisma, necessary charisma to fill those the shoes of those characters, characters that are bigger than life, characters that have been in the mind of Dune's fans for decades. So I needed the people that will have the chops to be able to bring those characters to the screens. But that meant, as you rightly said, it becomes sometimes a nightmare with the schedule, with the planning, because those people are not available all in the same time. I will say that fortunately there was a lot of enthusiasm in among my actors, and we that facilitated the schedule. Everybody did their best to try to be free, available in a period of time that necessary period of time. Those shoots are very long and demand a lot of time. So I needed them to be fully available, of course.
Yeah. I love to ask directors in that old Hollywood style, like we've got that movie moment. Do you remember what it was for part two? That moment you were worried about that when you got it, you go, this movie's good. We've got it. We've got the heart and soul of this movie now. Do you remember that scene or that shoot or even just moments before or anything?
There are the thing with the movie like Dune Part Two is a beast. It was a beast to shoot, and there are a lot of these moments. There are like a lot of key moments uh, um, that needed to be I needed to bring home in order to have a movie. I will say that the main thing in Dune Part Two was the to make sure that the audience will believe in the relationship between Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, and Shani, played by Zendaya. That we will believe in their relationship because the whole structure of the story is based on what the tension between both characters. And let's say that as the shoot was evolving, I was making sure that I was connecting the dots and that we had the right beat to bring that home. And So that's why I'm saying there was a lot of these moments that were absolutely crucial to to exist in front of the camera. Otherwise, I would have no movie.
Now, of course, as you move forward, what are the things that excite you, but also the things that kind of weigh on your mind as you zoom out from Arrakis? As you move away from, the sands as much as still part of it very much, but there's so much more of the universe now that you have to look at.
But the thing is, on part two, what I'm not sure if I understand correctly your question, but I will say that on part two, the thing that was exciting for me and my team was to spend more time on Gedi Prime. We had barely see the planet on part one, and this time we will embrace the world and visit this world that is the polar opposite of Arrakis. It's an artificial world that nature doesn't exist anymore. It's an industrial planet, and that was very exciting to design and to visit.
One of the most amazing scenes in this, of course, and just the forethought was the idea of Austin Butler's fight and everything that went through, into that world. Can you talk about how you wanted his character, who of course was played by Sting before, but how you wanted him, or how you wanted to put your stamp on that kind of evil, I guess.
But the thing is that I wanted to in the book the Harkonnens are very talkative and they are like twisting mustache villains in some ways and I wanted the audience to be afraid of them. I wanted to make them very intelligent character to feel that and I needed an actor in Austin Butler that we will feel that deep intelligence, that will feel that sadism, that I will feel that playful, that rock star charisma. I wanted him to flirt with being a psychopath. I wanted to, um, and also I wanted the character to bring into the character some kind of code of honor. I didn't want just a pure villain. I wanted someone that has some moral values when it comes to honor and that respect his opponent if the opponent is a strong fighter and if the opponent gives his best, and there's something there that to create as much dimension to this character as possible, to explore what are his zones of vulnerabilities. With Austin, we try to create this kind of cross mix between a psychopath, an Olympic sword master, and Mick Jagger. It's like that kind of and what Austin brought to the screen, I think, is Fedrota. I mean, I'm still in awe every time I see the movie, how much he really went for it, and how much the characters is finally really alive for me on screen.
Now you mentioned Mick Jagger in there. I have to ask, if you were to put part one and part two, like if each film had its own maybe song or band or even soundtrack, who would you say, what would be the song that you would associate with part one or part two? Of course, maybe it's more rock and roll in part two, or.
It's a good question. I will say that both movies will flirt with opera, for sure. The notion of something very operatic. That's the way we approached both movies with Hans Zimmer, the composer, to have like that kind of structure, evolutive structure that would be a cross mix between opera and progressive rock. So this idea of a melody that evolved and that in which the structure changed, and suddenly there's like in French we said ampleur, where it's like it grows and become really operatic at the end. That's the way both movies were designed. So.
I want to ask too, you have cinematographers who put little stamps or little things in there. What would you say that was, outside of just the idea in the film itself, was there any little thing or Easter egg you did to stamp Denis into Dune? Is there anything in there that you take a credit for? I'm not talking about, Batman putting the nipples on the suit kind of thing, but there's different ways to put your own stamp on this film too. So.
But how can I say, to answer to your question, every frame of that movie is me. I mean, it's I work years to bring those movies to the screen. It's like there's no the stamp. The movie is the stamp. I mean, it's like my sensibility in all from the choices of the way the movie was lit to the production design to it's all. I work with a lot of great artists, of course, to bring my vision to the screen. I'm really I owe them, that's what I said at the beginning. The movie says more things about me than about Frank Herbert.
I have to let you go. Of course, we run over because of, technical difficulties. But I do want to ask, when you look back or, in the future, someone makes a, maybe autobiography or biography, what would you like the title of the chapter that is Dune in your life to be?
Um, Old dreams.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. We look forward to seeing whatever you create, however you create or whatever you create in the next iteration. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice talking to you, Derek. Take care.